What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and how you feeling? You feeling great? Feeling grounded? Feeling excellent? Because I mean, the moon is feeling excellent. She's in Taurus. She's celebrated there. So, we're gonna get grounded. We're going to create some things of beauty. We're really gonna make the most of this moon in Taurus. But before we get into that, for those of you who are new, welcome to this channel, and know that when you're coming across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she absolutely loves that. But this is also a place for you if you happen to have any planets or points in Cancer. Your sun, moon, rising, ascendant, descendant, wherever, Cancer. This one's for you. Or if you just want to kick it with us, sync up with the moon, support that always. And I do tarot card spreads based upon, actually, let's point over here. I love the good old moon. I've had 3 days, 3 days of just lunar. She's like right in the window where I'm looking at right now, and it's been lovely. I've gone outside. Love her. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void of course, just all those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything is going to be dope, Cancer. Yeah. Now, let's jump into it. Feeling good, Cancer. When I'm recording this, actually, it's the day of the full moon lunar eclipse. So, been feeling very, very intuitive. Been just taking in the energies. We're in the flow. But before we get into this thing, I'm going to start shuffling your cards here. But depending on when you're watching this, happy Venus Day. Venus is associated with Fridays, and I find Venus days are a lovely day for just doing things to help you feel more attractive, as far as, I designate Venus days, for example, for shaving. Usually, if I happen to miss the Venus day, then I'll try to schedule during like a Venus hour to try to get in that. But if you can get in like a Venus day during the Venus hour, that's usually the time I'll wash my hair, like all these things. Just doing some self-care rituals to really just get you feeling at your best, so that you just attract the things that you want. When you're feeling good, then you're just attracting that good. So that's what I really enjoy working with Venus days for. And this is going to be a time where because the next time we get to a Venus day, Venus is going to be in Scorpio, and so the vibrations are going to be a little different. So while she's still in this potent Venus in Libra energy, allow this to be a time where you're just speaking in the things that you want to attract. I'm always a big fan of affirmations, going to look at some art, just doing things that maybe you could even spark some inspiration. Could be some great ways of working with Venus. Schedule a date. Whether it be a romantic one or maybe even with a friend. Oh, how fascinating. Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's interesting. But depending also when you're watching this, the moon is going to be entering into Taurus on the 20th of September at 2:02 a.m. and that's going to be Pacific time. She's going to be forming out 4 aspects with the traditional planets during her time in Taurus, and she's in a waning gibbous phase, or a disseminating moon. And I wanted to talk about that waning gibbous phase first. I had an interesting thought that came through while I was thinking about that. The waning gibbous phase is the time after the full moon where we're kind of processing the light, all the light that we got in, and maybe the divine inspirations that came in while the moon was full. And when you think about the disseminating, that's just like the seeds just kind of scattering throughout. But it's different than the new moon phase where we're sowing seeds. I like to think of the disseminating moon as after that idea has blossomed, the spores and seeds that come from the flower that disseminate all over the place, so that new growth can come in, so that you can keep the idea going. So that's what I feel the waning gibbous is, to process what has come through, and how do we want to carry that over more? Like, how do we intend to grow that even further? How is this intention really affecting the outside of you? For example, let's say you've started a workout routine, something new that you've never done. Maybe you're noticing more energy to do some things around the house. Maybe you're noticing that you have more energy to play with your kids, if you got kids, or play with your dog, or just things along those lines to kind of pay attention to see how the fruits of your labor are affecting your environment. So Just something to think about with just that phase in itself as we're in this phase over the next few days. But with the moon in Taurus, after the moon in her home sign of Cancer, the moon is very, very strong in Taurus. This is where she finds her exaltation. So this is where she's most celebrated in. And that's because the moon is about nourishing and building and growing. And I feel with Taurus being the fixed earth sign, being ruled by Venus, the lovely empress, that this is a period of time to ground yourself in some beautiful things. Get out in nature, appreciate the stuff around you, appreciate the things, look at the stuff that you have, the things that you, because the earth energy deals with those, the things that are physical. And even let's even take a step further, even kind of away from the things. Look at this body that you've created and the ways that you've invested in it, the ways that you take care of it. And if you're not feeling comfortable and celebrated in your body, what are some things that you can do? Venus days would be perfect for it. But what are some things that you can do to, because I find when we feel good in here, then we're able to do great work outside. So that's what I feel this moon in Taurus can be. Really want to just promote a lot of, bring some nourishing energy into your world, and really make these next couple days just something where you're just feeling more grounded, more rooted in who you are, and more rooted in where you're becoming and where you're growing. So those are some ways that I would think to work with the moon in Taurus. Just a couple of examples. But oh, I'm even getting something too. Listening to some really nice music, that could be another thing. Even I feel like indulging a little bit in the kind of earthly pleasures, as far as like getting yourself not just like any chocolate. Like I was just thinking, some chocolate. We're not just talking like a Kit Kat. No, get yourself some of that name brand chocolate. You know what I'm talking about? Those bars like $6, $7, $8. Treat yourself and let it expend for a little bit. Know that you deserve that you're worth it. I feel sometimes we don't allow ourselves, we look at it as a splurge or something, or and I feel like we're allowing ourselves more of that richness, to just because Taurus has an ability to really attract a lot of the resources that it needs. So if you're wanting to feel rich in things, and we're being responsible, of course, but look at things as you're looking at the things that you're doing as an investment. I'm investing in this chocolate because it makes me feel good. I get a nice little treat, gives me something to look forward to at the end of the day. So just some little minor tips to kind of work with this. Now let's get into the Void of Course energy, and then we'll get to the tarot here. Because the Void of Course, that's going to be happening on Sunday, the 22nd of September. And that's going to go from 3:14 a.m. to about 3:24 a.m. So this is going to be a pretty brief one. We got about 10 minutes of Void of Course time. And the Void of Course is usually the time when the moon forms her final aspect with the celestial body. And then I like to think of it as a time where we're processing what went down during her time in Taurus. What were some things that came up for you? And it also is a time too where, in this 10 minutes, don't start anything up. Be patient. But Void of Course usually don't, because the moon doesn't have a lot of energy in that, or in during that period of time. It's not usually beneficial to start anything up. It's usually a time to wrap some things up. So if you happen to be up during that time, depending on where you're at in the world, just take a minute and just do some, like, maybe some light breathing, just maybe do some meditation, possibly. Just allow yourself 10 minutes. Give yourself just 10 minutes of just some me time, and get in touch with that kind of inner light too. And I say that because the final aspect usually flavors the Void of Course period. And she's going to be forming a trine with the mighty sun. And so I find, and when you're thinking about the trines are Jupiterian in nature. There's this flow that happens. It's when the planets are 120 degrees apart from one another. And so this would be where the sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Taurus. And I feel with this can be a time for just reflecting on us, like, okay, I've been I've been thinking about this thing, like whatever we're talking about. It's just like, how do I want to take this maybe to the next step? Let's say, okay, I've been really getting this workout jam. Maybe I want to throw in maybe a spin class on top of that, or maybe I want to try a yoga thing. I'm just throwing some general stuff out there. But those could be some ways I feel to work with the void of course time. I feel like this is a when the luminaries are in a real favorable conversation, I feel like you can really pay attention to what downloads and what things maybe for some of us will probably be sleeping. Pay attention to what dreams maybe come up when you wake up that next day and the moon's in Gemini. See what ideas maybe come up for you during that time, what you want to do with that, maybe some things you want to explore. So that would be some ways I'd say to work with this energy here. Let's switch over. And last little things before we get into this. If you're wanting to work with these lunar phases more personally, I have a link down in the description box below for lunar groups that I host that we work over a 27-month cycle. So if you're really looking to do some long-term intention work with the moon, that's down available for you. And if you have any questions about that, because I offer other services as well, from tarot card readings to solar return readings. I enjoy doing a good lunar return reading as well. But if any sort of questions that you may have, I have a link down to book a free consultation with me so I can answer any questions that you have and just get to know you better. You know, it'd be nice to see you on the other side. So if that's something that resonates with you, all that's available for you down below. And then I think that's all I got for you. So last little thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. So apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situation. But check this daily energy card out here, because you have the Jade and Pink Lotus card. And the reason that I was just like, this is interesting, because when I was doing the pre-shuffle, that was the first card that popped out. And I took a little glance at it and I liked what this message was about. And this is a card of Sink into Silence. I love it too because it's earth energy and it's very Venusian when we're talking about a lotus. And then this is a card of reflection and tranquility. And so I would say with this, during this period of time, again, doing things that I would say this can be a great time to get in a real kind of cozy space, whether that be maybe you like to do a lot of cooking in the kitchen, something to get you in the flow. Maybe you're working in the garden, maybe you're creating some music, maybe you're doing some reading, maybe you're going for a walk, maybe you're doing some yoga. But allow yourself some space to dip into your body, to reflect. That's what the waning side of these lunar phases are about, for reflection. And seeing where maybe you're not feeling tranquil about or maybe more so if you're noticing a lack of tranquility, possibly. What is disturbing that? What is keeping you from getting into that flow? That's interesting. I'm getting an image of, there's this meditation that a guided one that I like to do. It makes mention about picturing your heart space as this lotus, this 9-petaled lotus that's coming in here. I'm seeing you meditating on a lake. You're on the water with your divine powers. But I really feel like this is a time to just sink into yourself. This earth energy, that the body is involved in that. This is something that I feel when you're really in touch with your body, the manifestation and your ability to, or the things that manifest for you, your ability to create becomes a lot stronger. Maybe even pay attention to, I'm even thinking about, I was actually kind of reflecting on this while I was doing a workout today, that I've been making efforts for it. I had noticed that I was putting a lot of weight on my left side, that I tend to lean more on that side. So I've been really trying to balance that out with my right side to make sure that the strength is going there. And that's why I feel like pay attention to where maybe there's some imbalances and how can we bring more equilibrium is even another thing. Another thing I'm even thinking about is that I had started doing, and I've been doing this for a little while now, is these I call them left-handed affirmations. And I just take some time each day and I just write out a page of affirmations with my left hand, not just to affirm myself, but to also strengthen up my left hand, to be able to, I got two hands, why can't both of them write? And so that's what I'm even getting here. But let's see, let's get into the tarot. That might even be something too. Maybe doing some, maybe pulling some cards for yourself, getting into a ritual, maybe just doing a card pull a day. See what reflections come up to her. And you'd be really amazed as you start getting into that, how accurately the energies will even reflect what you're pulling. But let's get some tarot. Let's sink into the silence and get some details on this. Deep reflection coming in with the Hanged Man. Look at that. We're not playing around. And actually, I'm going to pause this real quick because it's warm in here. All right, we're back. Because I was like, ooh, the energy's heating up. Ooh, we got a lot here. Let's see what's going on in the universe. Yes. So you have Gullah Jack here, which is the Hanged Man. Then you have the Father of Knives, the Son of Coins, the Seven of Knives, and then we got a lot of emotions here. The Two of Baskets, the Eight of Baskets, and the Six of Baskets here. So with the Six of Baskets, maybe we're thinking during this period of time, maybe you're reflecting on some past things that have maybe come up for you. Maybe you're thinking about how you've been exchanging. Maybe I'm getting like a certain exchange here that may have happened with the Two of Baskets. It doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship per se, and I don't mean just a romantic one. This may have been, I'm almost getting an energy of just like thinking about how maybe you've shown up in the past, and how, again, how, like, it's like how you've shared your energies and how maybe you're wanting to move on from how you've been doing that with the Eight of Baskets being here. We're finding a new way of maybe being more disciplined with how your energy's been flowing. That's something that's coming through there. Because the Seven of Knives, this is giving me this, it's almost like we're thinking about how things could have gone differently, possibly. And I'm thinking, like, if this is not a conversation with someone, then maybe this is like a conversation. The Two Baskets is like a conversation between you and yourself, a needed time to just think about where this is not a beating yourself up, but I just think that we're maybe overthinking a situation here, looking for some kind of clarity with the Father of Knives. And this, and maybe this could be something where if you're not, maybe you might need a bit of perspective with the Father of Knives. This could be maybe talking with someone about this reflection here with Gullah Jack, as far as maybe you did something that you've been beating yourself up on, and someone's like, well, considering the circumstances, I'm just getting like someone can bring you a different insight, bring you a different view that you've not seen before, so that you can go forward with new, you can be more conscious or more purposeful with how you go forward. Let it not be something that it's not letting it just be a regret. Let it be something that you learn from. Mistakes happen. It's from, I feel, because there was something we were unconscious about. But once we become conscious of that, then it's like, okay, do we keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, or do we trying something different with the Seven of Knives? Let me get a little bit more with that Seven of Knives and see what's going on there. Interesting. Thanks, Spirit. So the Seven of Knives is clarified by the Four of Baskets, and that's interesting. I'm getting this energy here of, it's like maybe someone was offering you their 2 cents about this thing. You're just it's not being received well. You see how she just really can't be bothered in this Four of Baskets. But I'm getting like getting out of, it's like getting out of the emotions. This is the Moon in Cancer, the Four of Baskets, and it's just giving me this need to So I'm thinking about this. Okay, so a story just kind of came to mind where someone had told me that they had this regret that they were carrying, and they felt like they had to do it because otherwise there was no, it seemed like there was no other way for atoning to that. And where I understood where the person is coming from, I also noticed just like it's just you see the weight that comes with regrets. And I don't think that that's the point of them, to be where you're just like, oh my gosh, this thing happened, and so like I'm just this forever. And we want to be mindful about that with those sort of like fixed mentalities, or even like those kind of fixed judgments maybe on yourself, because it's like I'm getting just again, let the past be the past, and how it's, I feel like it's how you go forward, it's the now that matters, how you show up here and come with that clear headed, that, and look, the father baskets has this, or excuse me, the father of knives has this basket of clocks, and I feel like this is all the time that you maybe spent kind of pondering or being focused, being away from the present, and how sometimes you can be so caught up in the past that time can fly by, and then you're just like, what's happened? I've missed so much here, being anchored down there. And this Eight of Baskets, it's Saturn and Pisces, and I feel like there's got to be a different way for the emotions to flow, and really kind of sit with this. And I feel there's even this tranquility is just like making peace with, you know what, that person that did that, and even if this wasn't you doing this, if this is someone else that did something to you, that was them in the past, and they may be a whole other person now. You may not experience this change, but I feel if you can send out, maybe it's like even sending out the intention that the change has happened, because people change. You know, that's something where, you know, you can believe what you believe. I'm not here to ever tell people how to do stuff. Like I feel that everyone has the capacity to change, when they're ready to embrace that, when they're ready to make that consciousness. And I feel putting anything else on them is shortchanging them. Let's get some more on this. Thanks, Spirit. Let's see what else we got. So you have the Black Hermit, which is Mercury, the the Magician card, and the sign that it rules, Gemini here, the Courting card, which is the Lovers. Then you have the Ace of Sticks and the Two of Knives here. And that Ace of Sticks to the Two of Knives. This is, you can redirect the energy. You can make some real different choices here with this energy. I'm even getting with like the Two of Knives to the Lovers, that this feels like a pivotal moment, or at least it can be, if you want it to be. If there's some things that you're maybe kind of reflecting on, that you're not quite having made peace with, this Black Hermit is giving you your power back. I mean, you never lost it. It's the power's always there. But I feel that this is a reminder that it's there, that you can take what you've learned from a situation and just be better. And not even, again, not just you. This could be where, if in the future, okay, if someone did this to you, okay, now we're learning we're learning the red flags. If people say something I find people will tell you about themselves. If you give them enough time to talk and just kind of listen, they'll tell you. You can see a lot where people are kind of coming from here. And so that may be something too where maybe you notice that if you tend to draw a certain type of, you're noticing a theme in your relationships. Maybe people, you tend to give a lot, but there's not that reciprocity. You can make a choice to not give your energy as much there and make these kind of conscious choices to make these. And know, again, this courting card is giving me like, with this courting card to the Black Hermit, it's just like you can make, you have more autonomy and more control. I think about sometimes when I hear people say like, "Oh, they made me do that." No one can make you do anything. Like it's if the emotions get riled up, especially with Mars being in Cancer, if the emotions getting riled up and things, then sure. But you can, it's only if you choose to entertain it. I'm thinking about, I have a pretty big background in just, I mean, I work with, still working with customer service in a sense, but I have a long background of working with people. And you meet a lot, you come across a lot of energies. And if you were just to allow the people that have come through to kind of whip you to and fro, it would be life would be a lot. And so I even feel like with this, when you find yourself like, oh, you know what, I feel like I'm losing control of my energy. Again, find, maybe even this is like creating a space in your, a space to process this. But let's say if you're at a job, for example, you don't have that space to just be able to go off and run off. How do you kind of channel that? How do you, like, you know what, I'm gonna make this conscious decision to move this or to think this. There's something here about, I just got a flash like Venus and Libra, that cardinal air. Where are we initiating from? Where are our thoughts? We may not be able, pay attention to the thoughts that come up, because even though the thoughts may be doing what they do, we have power in our words, in what we put out there. We can control that. That's what I'm getting with that. All right, let's get some advice from the lovely Venus. Okay. Thanks, Spirit. Ooh, so you have the strength and resilience card here. And let's go ahead and switch back over. And I feel that this is, it's like, especially I feel when you feel that like a inner storm is brewing possibly here, where you feel like maybe you're getting ready to be reactive. I find that when you notice that, just noticing that alone can be very powerful. Even, let's say, because there's some times where I've and I'm in, it's a growing process where it's like you're feeling strong, but it's like, you know what, maybe I need to maybe I'm meant to be a divine mouthpiece for this person. But I just feel like it's like when the more you kind of catch these sort of, like, I'm not like it's giving me like a, not being in this knee-jerk reaction type of energy, showing more strength and resilience than you think that you have, that you can find, that you can sink into signs, especially when there's some things that are coming up when you're like, and I'm even thinking too, the devil's not here, but I'm even thinking as far as like even those sort of like impulses when we're like, oh, I can't help this, I like it's I'm not quite sure, what that could entirely be. You can apply it to your situation. But this can be a time of real strengthening here. There's strength in silence. That's something that I'm getting with there too. And it's like being intentional as far as like what's coming next, and to come. And that's even interesting too. I'm even getting this to let like the past, that Six of Baskets energy, let those situations strengthen you. Try not to let them be where they keeps you in the same place where again you feel with that Two of Knives to even to the Two of Baskets, where we can either notice when the emotions are stirring and then kind of come from a clear-headed space or something along those lines. I think I'm gonna leave that there. A little something to ponder on. But if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and share this thing if you know someone who may find some value in this to kind of help them move them along on their journeys. And then subscribe there, you black herman. Hit that bell button, you get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit, if you're wanting to know what's going on in the weekly as far as like the whatever transits that are going on, come on over to my other channel, Alchemist Date. I have a link down in the description box below for that, where I do weekly videos talking about what's the chit chat that's happening in the cosmos, and I also do videos talking about different planetary placements and different signs and different houses. That's been a little series that I've been working on. I just kind of release those as I make the time for them. So definitely check that all out. I have them all in playlists and things for you. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise card or cards here. And I'll get you out of here. All right. Thanks, Spirit. Let's see what's happening. Ooh, look at this. You got the Nettles card here. And this is a card that is associated with Mars and Pluto. And this is a card of action. And that's interesting. The 21st card, that's World card energy. And you know, I think that there is some sort of action that's wanting to be taken. An action that's needing to be taken that's going to require some strength and resilience. Especially with that Ace of Sticks being there. You know, maybe this could be too where you've been wanting to start something, but you've let other people's opinions, whatever that looked like, maybe get in the way. But now this is a time to find that drive, to take this Ace of Wands and then go with the clarity. And that might be something too that it's like if you've had people sow in their seeds of doubt. And it may not be, I don't ever really think that that's like intentional. It's just like maybe they don't see the vision as you see it. And that's what makes us, that's what the innovative part of us is. It's like, it's something here about sticking firm to this action to achieve this higher knowledge. Because Mars, with the relationship between Mars and Pluto, Pluto is considered the higher octave of Mars. And so I feel like this is working towards taking actions towards a higher a higher consciousness, a higher state of awareness, and having more control over your actions. But that Father of Knives is giving me, it's a mental game. It's something that, and it requires this strength and resilience, and I'm even getting like practice. And the more that you take actions towards that, the more that it's like you take a step forward and the universe takes like 10 steps forward. It's that's something else that's coming through here. And just a sidebar, I've worked with, this is not medical advice or anything, but I've worked with nettle leaf for a long time, and I really enjoy nettle. I really do. I think it's got a lot of vitamins and minerals in the herb. It's great for, I'll usually make it's a part of my vitamin blend that I make that I'll steep overnight. It's nice to let it sit and let the water kind of take in all those nutrients and things. So that's something maybe if you're wanting to work with some nettles, I would advise, of course, talk with your doctor for things and do some research on that stuff, of course. But nettle is one. It's a bit of a drying herb, so if you tend to run dry, you may want to balance that out with some moistening herbs. I have some seaweed stuff that I put in with it too, so that always helps balance that out. But I got a lot of fire, so I can run a little hot sometimes. But yeah, I think that's all I got for you there. So until next time, keep raising that consciousness, keep eyes on the moon, and I will catch you on the next one. Later. Oh, wait a minute. Sunday.